Hello everybody, today I'm going to be going over a companion druid leveling build with you. This is going to be super strong, it's going to get you to level 100 very quickly, so let's go ahead and hop on in. Alright, so for gear, I'm just going to show you guys the available aspects. However, you really don't need all of this stuff. You need to remember that you're going to be sitting inside of a Helltide, sitting next to a Blood Maiden, just running around doing Helltides to level up in World Tier 2. There's going to be tons of people there doing the same thing, so you're not necessarily going to be alone, and you'll have this kind of pseudo-group aspect into leveling. But if you want to make yourself very strong, the main one that you need is Shepherd's aspects. A Core and Wrath skills deal an additional 5 to 10% damage per companion you have. You do not need to do this until you actually unlock your companion skills, which isn't going to be till like around level 10 or something. So, or sorry, it's going to be level 12 by the time you unlock them. So once you get to around level 12, you're going to want to go and pick up your Shepherd's aspects. After that, there's not really anything that's going to give you some major damage increase. You can do Aspect of Changeling's Debt. This will increase the damage of Shred, but personally, I don't really think it's worth it to take the time to go and get most of these aspects. I'm just showing you the ones that you would actually benefit from. So I would personally pick up Shepherds, and then I would actually go pick up Aspect of the Unsatiated. The reason for this is because it says after killing an enemy with Shred, you gain 20 Spirit. This is going to really help you be able to whisk and move around the map with Shred a lot faster. So Shepherds, Aspect of the Unsatiated are going to be the most noticeable ones, and then if you really wanted to, you could pick up Windstriker Aspect. Once you get to where you have access to World Tier 3, that and like you're around level 50, that's when you, and if you don't have anything or haven't found any drops from doing Blood Maiden, that is when you're going to want to consider doing Aspect of Disobedience to make sure you're hitting the armor cap and doing stuff like that, right? So you can make sure you can actually survive and have the amount of armor that you need to survive in World Tier 3. But other than that, all you really need is Shepherds, Aspect of the Unsatiated, but you can go and pick these up if you would like. So now, let's go ahead and hop on into the actual skill tree. So what I have here is the first 15 levels of the skill tree. So you're going to go Wind Shear, Enhanced Wind Shear, Fierce Wind Shear. The reason we do this is because it gives us a 20% move speed buff. We don't actually have a reason to need to take Claw or Maul yet because we won't have access to Pack Leader yet. So until we get access to those, just going Fierce Wind Shear is going to be best because it keeps us at range. It also gives us move speed. It's just going to help us move around the map faster. We're going to come down here. We're going to pick up Shred. Then we're going to pick up Enhanced Shred. And then we are going to pick up Primal Shred. Okay. Then we're going to move down here. We are going to pick up Blood Howl, Enhanced Blood Howl, Innate Blood Howl. You'll see here, I'll have a whole entire list here that'll show you exactly what order to pick these in. Come back. You'll pick up Predatory Instinct, Digitigrade Gate. This is so you can unlock this right here. You'll have 2 points left over after you pick this up, so then you can unlock this, put a point into this, and then at that point you will be level 15. That is when you're going to go and you're going to go to Toll Draw and you're going to unlock your Spirit Boons. Now your Spirit Boon unlock order is going to go like this. You want to get your Wolf on unlock so you can get Pack Leader. This is number 1. Number 2, you want to unlock Eagle right after that. You don't want to max this out, just unlock the first step in it. Then you want to unlock Eagle. It's going to give you 10% increased critical strike chance. After that, you're going to want to max out Deer first. The reason for this is because you can get a 15% movement speed and impairment reduction bonus. So this is going to help you move around the map even faster by focusing on movement speed, because this was actually buffed in the last season to give us movement speed now. Okay, so moving right along, we are going to then want to do this right here. So we're going to go ahead. We need to start putting points into other things. So because we have Pack Leader now, we want to go Enhanced and then Brutal, because this is going to give us access to 20% additional crit. Then we're going to want to come over here. We're going to want to pick up Enhanced Ravens and Brutal Ravens. This is going to give us access to 8% more crit. Then we have 5 points left here. So we can come up here, we can go 1, 2 to get our movement speed buff all the way up to 12%, and then we can come back down here, pick up Call of the Wild for 36% damage boost, because that's actually going to end up being more than Enhanced Wolves anyway. Then we're going to come down here, we're going to pick up Quick Shift, we're going to pick up Heightened Senses because it gives us another 12% movement speed buff. Notice the theme here is we're just trying to get to the movement speed as fast as possible. So at this point is when we actually have to come back up here, and we're going to have to get rid of wind shear. So we go fierce wind shear, get rid of this, and then we're going to come over here and we're actually going to pick up maul. The reason for this is because in order to actually get the movement speed buff to be doubled and actually be 12, you have to have the werebear version also active. And we're also getting very close to getting our bestial rampage, so we're going to need to do it anyway. So it's totally fine to just go ahead and switch now. Then we're going to come up here, we're going to put a point into neurotoxin. The reason for this is because then we're going to hop right here and we're going to pick up enhanced wolves and brutal wolves. If you don't have a way to make things slowed, immobilized, stunned, or poisoned, then we're not going to get this bonus. So we take it to make sure that as long as things are poisoned, you'll be able to get this bonus from your wolves. After that, we are then going to come back down here. You can see we have 3 more points that we need to put in. So we're just going to go ahead and throw them into wolves here. Oops. And then we are going to come down here and go bestial rampage. The reason for this is this gives us 50% increased damage to our companions and everything. Plus it also gives us 30% attack speed. Once we find wild rage, that's going to give our companions double this bonus. And don't worry, I'm going to be going over what legendaries matter in a second when it comes to dropped legendaries. Okay, so then we're going to come over here, we're going to go boom, wolves, then we're going to go poison creeper, go ahead and max out ravens. Then we can come down here, put a couple points here, go ahead, put this in, this in. At this point, we're just filling out passives. That's really all we're doing. So there's not going to be anything super major here. So this, we're going to go vigilance. This will give us 50% damage reduction, just giving us crit. Just filling out the passives that we already had points into. This is going to give our companions 30% additional critical strike damage to things that are poisoned. And then toxic claws, this is just going to give us another way to make things poisoned. So then boom, we got natural fortitude, and this is going to give us access to fortifying every time we shapeshift, so that's also going to be pretty solid. And that is going to be by this time you will be level 50. That's going to be the route that you are going to want to take. So you'll see here I have the whole entire path right here for you. Please note that I did just make a mistake here by putting a point in here. I didn't like despec that for some weird tech. I just accidentally put a point to that. But okay, so now that we know this, let's go ahead and we are going to hop on into the dropped legendaries. Alright, so let's go ahead and go over the dropped legendaries. So we have aspect of the alpha. The moment you get this, throw this onto a 2-hander, then you're going to want to move shepherds to your amulet. After that, the next thing that we really are looking forward to here is Moonrage aspect. This is a new one. Kills have a 5% chance to summon a wolf companion. Keep in mind, this could potentially be part of the seasonal journey. If it is, you definitely want to be completing that seasonal journey to make sure you get this. Then after that, aspect of the stampede, gain 1 additional companion. In addition, companion skills are going to deal additional damage, so you're going to want to get that, throw that on a ring. And then aspect of the wild rage, your companions gain double the bonus from the bestial rampage key passive. All of these are going to be very, very important. If you do happen to find a pair of Storm's Companion, they haven't updated this yet to have the proper affixes on it yet, it would seem. But what this is actually going to do this season is it is going to increase this lucky hit chance. Not the coefficient on your skills, but this number here, the 25%, is going to be able to go all the way up to like 60% because of the Storm's Companion changes, which that's just going to be wild. So this is going to be the main unique that you want. When it comes to defensives, Spirit Bond aspect is going to be something you want, and again, this could also potentially be part of the seasonal journey. So 17.5% of the damage you would take is redirected across your companions. This has actually not been changed yet to reflect the patch notes. This is actually going to be 35%, and your companions cannot die. This is going to make it so your wolves can't die. And then you're going to want Aspect of Might. This is going to give you a 20% damage reduction buff for 7 seconds. And then on the boots, you are going to want anything that gives you movement speed. Wildheart Hunger is good for whenever you're pushing and need damage, but you need movement speed. So just going something like Rushing Wilds or any whatever movement speed aspect that you find you want to put on. Whatever boots you have on, you want to try to make sure there's movement speed on them. Like that's movement speed is going to be far more important than damage going on into this season. So that's going to be what the drop legendaries are, just so you guys can know exactly where you need to put them as you find them and what legendaries you guys are looking for. I'm also going to put them in the notes of this Mobalytics thing here, so just so you guys can know, like, hey, make sure, watch out for this, watch out for that. This is where you put it, kind of thing, so you can have a reference. For that. All right, everybody, so now I'm going to explain to you guys what you should be doing in the game. So first thing you want to do is a seasonal quest line. So this is obviously for Season 4 because Season 5 hasn't started yet. But the first thing you want to do is do the seasonal quest line. That's going to be very important. Just go ahead, get that knocked out of the way. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do Hell Tides. Now, there's a few rules for the Hell Tides because there are some changes that you need to know about that happen. Like, for example, world bosses. You really should just avoid doing world bosses at all costs because they're just going to be tankier. They have this new thing called Resilience. They take way less damage. It's not really going to be worth your time. So, that being said, so when you turn in your Cinders and Hell Tides, you want to make sure you do it later on in the Hell Tide, not early, because you want to be the highest level possible when you turn those in to get the most EXP. You want to do all the Whispers in the Hell Tide. Make sure you do all of these because they buff them to make sure you can always get a round of Whispers in every single Hell Tide, so you want to do all of these. You do all these, you go tournament at the Tree of Whispers. This is going to help you get even more experience and more loot. And keep in mind, uniques can now drop in the Tree of Whispers, so like just doing things like this is just going to be very, very beneficial in general. Right now, if after that you want to run around and you just want to do any event that takes place, you're going to probably see a lot of people doing things like the Blood Maiden and stuff like that. So if there's a lot of people doing them and the boss is dying really fast there, you can go ahead and do a Blood Maiden. If it's taking too long, there's not a whole lot of people there, just run around and do events. That'll be way better for you. There's going to be a few minutes of downtime between Hell Tides, and that's going to be where you're going to want to go ahead and do your aspect getting and stuff like that. So after you've done, like your first Hell Tide, just go run over here to Blood-Soaked Crag and pick up Shepherd's Aspect. That's where you get Shepherd's Aspect. It's going to be like the #1 thing that you're going to really need for your build, right? After that, once you get close to level 15, you're going to want to come over here to Toll Draw and do this. Unlock your Spirit Boons, right? And do what I was talking about earlier on in the video with Toll Draw. And then after that, you're just going to want to come right on back here to Hell Tides. Now, you're going to stay in Hell Tides all the way up to level 45. Keep in mind, you will be able to actually unlock this Capstone Dungeon probably at like level 30, really. Like level 30 to 35, you could realistically probably do this if you had good enough drops from the Hell Tide. If you didn't, you might just wait till 45, because you also have to remember, if you do it really early and you have the damage but you don't have the defensive stats to survive on World Tier 3, then you're not really accomplishing a whole lot by doing it early. But I will say this, you will get sacred items, I believe, inside of this. So yeah, so making sure you get this done as early as possible is fine. And if you do unlock this and you cannot survive in World Tier 3, just stay in World Tier 3, but just go into the Hell Tide and follow people around. There's going to be hordes of people everywhere because it's season start, and just kind of stick with them, and you should, until you get to the point where you can actually survive and get enough levels to where you can survive. So then you're going to go all the way up to like level 55, and again, you could probably unlock World Tier 4 at level 55 if you have good enough drops and stuff like that. So, I went over, like the drops you're looking for and everything like that already. So if you do end up finding those drops, you should be able to do World Tier 4 super duper early and just absolutely crush it. And then from there, it's going to be the same thing. If you are not able to survive, go into Hell Tides, stick with people to try to survive until you get the gear. Because remember, once you get into World Tier 4, things like resistances are going to matter. Your armor is going to need to be at least 90 to 50, stuff like that. Start trying to hit those armor caps in order to be able to survive and get, higher and higher armor, and you will be good to go. And then before you go into the capstone dungeons, take whatever tempering things you have found and go ahead and just start tempering. So when it comes to like what tempers you would even really want, I would say you just want things like wolf CDR, any of the percent damages like wolf damage, companion damage, any of that stuff is going to be good and very strong. So try to get some of that onto your rings. So if you go to this, you can see here you have things like companion finesse, so companions damage, wolves damage, poison creeper damage. Literally, if you roll any of these, it'll be good. It doesn't even matter if you roll ravens damage, because of the level you're at. and because of how high Raven's base damage is, this is still, you're still going to notice your Ravens are just going to start slapping. So go ahead and try to do this, because you are going to have access to a lot of resources because of Helltides, and put your strongest aspect on a two-handed weapon, because you shouldn't really have any trouble with re-enchanting it. And if you do, just try to just put it onto an amulet and then just hold on to that amulet forever. But you really shouldn't have any problems. I didn't have any last season. But yeah, so that's really going to be it. Once you unlock World Tier 4, you're just going to be doing Nightmare Dungeons over and over and over again. Just absolutely, positively, nonstop until you hit 100. Now, they do have these mini dungeons from the quest line, and you can try those out and see how much EXP they give. If those happen to give like turbo EXP, you're going to want to do those. I don't know if they will, but apparently they do have really good loot drops, so be on the lookout to be doing those mini dungeons like as you're leveling, because you could potentially go in there to help find the drops you need to get like the capstone. So you could do the Helltide all the way up to like, let's say, level 35, and then you go do a couple of those dungeons, see what kind of drops you get, or and then just go back to Helltides if it doesn't seem to be worth it, right? Like, you know, don't discount that. And yeah, that's pretty much the leveling experience all the way up to 100. I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing the Infernal Hordes until after you hit 100. You will still want to do those and push those to the highest thing just to get it done, but it'll probably also be part of the seasonal journey. And also remember that I believe there should be a bunch of companion druid stuff in the seasonal journey, so make sure you look at that and try to complete that seasonal journey if that is the case, because if they are focused on companion stuff and they give you a cache of companion druid goods and you get like things like Aspect of the Alpha and all that good stuff in it, like it's gonna be wild, like how fast you are going to do World Tier 4, how fast you're going to be able to just start obliterating World Tier 4. So very, very good start if we end up getting a bunch of companion druid stuff. So yeah, but anyways guys, that's really it. Like, leveling is really straightforward. Like, there's not really a whole lot to it besides what I was saying about Helltides, you know, making sure you're just, you know, turning things in later on. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.